Okay, so I promised that I'd do a voiceover slash commentary video on this. I uploaded the first part just to get it out there, and because I wanted to make sure that there was no way for the judges to make sure that I hadn't edited it. Like they had to know that I didn't edit it, so I uploaded it as soon as I finished uh the battle. So this is basically a video where I just go over it and I mention like what I've talked about in previous videos. Uh so here it is. So here we're counting down. I got rid of the audio just so we could just so you can understand what I'm saying better. You can see the countdown there. All right. Everyone launches. Uh I had a connector issue here. uh there we go. Now I launch. Uh so yeah, my ship is built more towards rapid response. This is a gunboat building competition where we had to build not a gunboat, gunship. We had to build a gunship that would work in atmosphere on any planet with a full cargo load. And so I built this, and this is really this was the biggest ship in the battle, but it was all light armor. Uh, which is part of shipbuilding. You got to make compromises, but this guy that I'm attacking right now, at least I think that was him. No, that's not him. But one person was using a railgun, which you'll see later, and that's a big no. This guy was the most heavily armored one. He had all heavy armor on his ship. Very compact design. Wasn't the prettiest, but it prioritized functionality over form. As you can see, he just spammed assault cannons, didn't really use many GATs. The lead indicator is a bit wonky, so another thing to think about while you're testing. I mean, like, it's okay, but like during high speed maneuvers, you can't trust the lead indicator. And there you can see the missiles firing. It's not very good against fast moving targets. Like, he just dodged an entire salvo at close range. Yeah, so he's firing. The guy on the bottom right has the railgun. He just went off screen. But you'll see him fire it in a moment. Yeah, he just fired it, see? Yeah, so really railguns, especially against ships this size, don't perform that well. Like, he only fired the railgun twice and actually hit, let alone did any damage. I believe he's gonna fire at me in a moment, where he penetrated, but he missed every single important system that he could have hit. Uh, you hear missiles hitting. I'm the biggest ship in the game right now, so uh, I'm the easiest target to hit with those. Uh, that guy that I'm fighting right now is the best builder in the faction that I play in. Uh, and more on what he was doing later. But both of us are actually the biggest ships in the battle right now. Uh, yeah, so I really use my speed advantage because I'm using mostly hydrogen. Most ships were actually, but I have a lot of speed on my ships, especially for accelerating forward. So there's that guy at the beginning again, trying to get a shot in his rear, because he's turned around because he was attacking the other guy. This battle is a four-way free for all battle, so it was kind of just a mess. Uh, and a lot of people felt like they were getting ganged up on. I'll probably upload the second battle we did where it was a 2 versus 2 battle, and I'll have a link to the actual briefing, I guess you could call it. But the battle was this battle was a shit post. But anyways, yeah. So I'm starting to lose thrusters. I've already lost one on the side. Uh, Weapons aren't doing too well either. I've lost my main rocket launchers. I've just increased the range because I realized that I wasn't doing enough at certain ranges. My artillery's still online because I shielded it with heavy armor. That's the only heavy armor on the whole ship. I put heavy armor around my artillery to protect them. But also this ship uses a lot of blast door blocks. So, yeah. Now the same guy again. I hit him with artillery reasonably well, I think. Assault cannons and my little I have a couple artillery turrets because they're actually kind of okay when you got them facing a certain way. Uh, which I'll talk about again later. So really, I'm just trying to single people out, pick them off, because this is just a heavyweight fight, and I'm the lightest ship despite being the biggest. That's because heavy armor is roughly 6 times more expensive and heavy than light armor. So bear that in mind when you're building ships. So yeah, I just go in for a quick gun run, let my artillery turrets get a nice shot off, I think. It's just become a brawl at this point between me and him. And now everyone's intervening. There's that guy, the builder that I was talking about. His name is actually Aced Fox. There's the railgun guy. That was Maddie. He was the first one to go down. There's the railgun again. That's where he fired at me, I think. Maybe he fired a second time. But he either missed or didn't hit anything critical because I didn't lose anything important from that shot. Okay. So, yeah, so here I see that he's like kind of running, so I'm singling him out, gonna try to prey on him. Gonna try to finish him off. Yeah, so he's drifting because he left his thrusters on override so he could get some distance and repair. Wasn't paying attention, and so he's just gonna hit the rocks and die. Not actually though. He just lost most of his thrust. From what he said, he could have taken off, but he never did. So like in my eyes, he was disqualified at that point. He already landed and crashed. He never took off again. He was kind of just done. Yeah, like that big explosion was probably like a hydrogen tanker reactor or something. And I just messed him up, and now it's a 3-way fight. He said he could still maneuver and that his turrets were still up to fire, but doesn't really count. I turned off creative mode tools just to double check to make sure that they were off. I turned them off. I wasn't really using them. Basically how it works is we set everything up to have the ammo and stuff just to make sure the weight was okay. And so I just remembered to turn them off then. But it wasn't right. My creative tools being on at that time by accident did not have a real part to play in the fight. So now it's just an open warfare brawl. Between 3 ships. Oh yeah, I turned around just to... I think it was at that point that he said that he could repair it. I was turning around to finish him off. And then the other 2 just showed up and ganged up on me. So I had to leave him alone. Yeah, so there's Aced, and I missed my railgun shot because I didn't wait for the lead indicator. Not railgun, artillery. So there is the... Yeah, so here's where I start to get picked on. This is where I start to take the most of my damage because I'm surrounded on both sides. I can't really turn to fight any one person. That was my ammo rack going up. So when that blew up, I lost most of my upwards thrust, so I had to be careful about how I flew. Yeah, so I can't really turn and not expose my rear, so I have to just ignore one ship, despite the fact that it's going to cost me in the end. So I'm just taking a pounding from Grimstock, which is the guy with the heavily armored ship. Uh, and yeah, it's just it. Okay, at this point, everyone's firing on each other. Because I've kind of left range. I'm not sure. I wasn't sure at that time if I was gonna be able to take off. I was just falling at that point. And I was trying to slow myself down and be able to fly. And so I was constantly checking. I've lost four. I've lost all four of my main upwards thrusters at that point, I think. Yeah. But my artillery is somehow still intact. And some of my turrets are still alive too. So at this point, I started flying upwards to space. I'm probably gonna skip over this part because really what happened was I went up to space to get my bearings, but apparently I didn't know that there was a boundary because they didn't establish the rules. So it was just the two of them fighting without me being ganged up on. And I wasn't aware of that. So basically, I thought that it would be either I stay here and be disqualified or go down and die and hope I can kill him in like a minute. Because really, this thing will be there for like 60 seconds and then it'll hit the ground. But you'll see later. Yeah, so it was here where I'm just like considering my options, taking a breather, letting them fight it out for a moment. Now I'm just going to skip over this part, so I'm going to stop recording. Okay, so at this point I started to come down. I'm trying to use my forward thrusters as a way to stop myself from hitting the ground immediately. I didn't bring any materials to repair with, so I'm still in the same condition. It's a really bad situation for me. I'm starting to come down now. And this is like the last part of the battle, and it's got a really shocking ending to it. So I believe at this point, Grimstock has landed. Again, at this point, like I consider landing to be out, because he never took off again. And Ace stopped shooting at him. So at this point, Maddie's down, Grimstock is down. It's just me versus Maddie. Not Maddie, sorry, Ace. And like at this point, I have a real shot at winning. Like I still might not have a lot of my I still might not have a lot of my weapons. I might be missing like more than half of my thrusters, but I still have a shot if I can bring him down. Yeah. So at this point, doing a bit of cleanup, just to get rid of some debris. To help with lag. He's coming up under, or I guess behind me, due to the way my ship's oriented. So we're having a fight in the stratosphere. He's come up to me, which is his mistake. If he just let me crash, then he would have won. So I have luck. Artillery got a nice hit. I took out something important. But I'm still falling. Starting to break pretty slowly. I think he's gonna ram me in a moment, but you can literally see really far into his interior because he's just been gutted. He has been absolutely gutted due to how things have been going this battle. Yeah, here he goes for ramming me. So I lost one of my cameras. No, he's about to ram me, but yeah, he's rammed me completely. I think I've lost my artillery at this point. I'm not entirely sure. Some of my cameras have been gone. I'm about to hit the ground here. So I quickly angle so that I lose minimal stuff. The front end is mostly gutted, so I think why not just use that as a really, really inefficient break. So here I'm about to hit the ground. About to impact. So I hit the ground, and because of this, I can take off again. Just barely. But I can take off again because I lost so much weight due to being almost completely gutted. Yeah, so the ships are taking off again. He's outmaneuvering me completely, but the ship is still going. If I'd stayed up, then, I would have won. So here we go. So I'm hovering now. I'm afraid to really move or do any maneuvering because I'll probably go down and lose this blessing that I have of still being able to fly. Uh, and yeah, he's coming in front of the ram, I think. Yeah, he's gonna ram. So he's trying to take me down. And he's overpowering me kinda, but at the same time he's moving me upwards because he rammed my underside. Now I'm trying to force him into the ground because I've successfully, I guess, climbed his ship with mine. I'm not really sure what the correct terminology is, but it happened. Uh, so yeah, I think this is the part where it happens. So we're coming down. Yeah, we're coming down. Uh, Battle's almost over. It's just coming down to whoever's flying last. Whoever hits the ground last will probably win. I technically outweigh him, I think. So I knew that if I could get him to hit the ground first, I'd probably win and just crush him under my mass. But here's the funny part. Here's the really funny part. So he manages to pull away at the last second, and he's still flyable. I'm, as you know, somewhat struggling in that department. So I try to take off again. It's not working. I try to do the same trick again. And pause. Yeah, the game crashed. It crashed completely. The game shit the bed, for lack of a better term. I consider it to be a draw because I probably would have just lost more weight and been able to take off again. That'll be all. Feel free to leave a comment, subscribe. I'd really appreciate if you subscribe. I'm still trying to beat Waddle at least, if not someone else. Leave a comment if you think it was a draw or if you think Aced won. I imagine if any of the people who were in the battle are watching, they're going to say that Aced won. But tell me what you think in the comments if you weren't part of the battle. If you were part of the battle, I really don't care.